Well, hello, hello. It is Sarah Jane with your weekly energy forecast from Animals as Messengers. And in fact, they're actually more expensive than that. I'm actually using two decks today. I'm using Colette Barrett Reed's beautiful animal oracles, and I'm also using Rebecca Campbell's Work Your Light cards today. And as always, you can't make this stuff up. You know, when you're using oracles or any kind of angelic guides or pendulum work, whatever you're doing, I think it's so important to just remember that it is your own divine guidance system, your own internal GPS, plugging into cosmic Google to give you the guidance that you require right now in the moment. And this I'm really taking this dose of medicine for the week very personally, because I've kind of been burning the candle at both ends for a couple of weeks. I'm in the middle of bringing something really big and beautiful into the world, which is kind of like my life's work, and it's been very mentally exhausting, and I found myself going into that place of shoulding and pushing, and I could feel like I was in the hustle, and I didn't like it, but I felt like, oh gosh, you know, you can't stop now. So this week's anchor card is, and my dog is here, it is just so perfect, a dose of medicine from me. And maybe you're finding yourself there in light of the fact that we're into the next 6 months of 2019, and of course, you know, we wouldn't be human if we weren't feeling some of the pressures and maybe a lot of regret coming up that we think we should be further along than we are. So this is very much, I'm taking this to heart this week, when we kind of look at Turtle in shamanic medicine being the earth, right? Being the divine mother. And the energy of her always saying, you know, slow and steady. And I say this, but I don't always listen to myself. Slow and steady, inch by inch is a cinch, yard by yard is hard. And to really trust in the divine timing of everything. You know, this is where we need to really do some of that deep work, deep shadow work with looking at our ego and looking at some of our unresolved childhood attachment, which is maybe making ourselves wrong or thinking that we've done something wrong. And to just slow down. And right now, you know, if you're listening to me or you're listening to this on the replay, just put your hand on your heart and just say, you know what? I give myself permission to just breathe, to just rest, which reminds me, I hope if you're in Johannesburg that you join the Breathe Fully workshop, which is happening on Sunday. Just again, such a beautiful anchor to go back to the breath, to go back to that art of hearing your own heartbeat, and to just say, you know what, darling, you get permission to just slow down. You get permission to just rest. This is why I'm a day late in bringing you the weekly forecast, because yesterday I had to stop pushing. I knew my old workaholic, perfectionism, A-type personality. I could see that I was heading for another burnout, that I could feel my adrenals were really taking strain, that my liver was taking strain. I was waking up in the middle of the night. And we need to be able to listen to our body. Our body's giving us feedback all the time. And you know, we could save ourselves so much pain, so much suffering, so much agony if we just listen to the call, if we just answer the call and use the energy of Turtle to just know that there is a divine timing for everything and that you have done nothing wrong. Everything you've done up until this point has got you to this moment where you are practicing, hopefully, a deeper sense of self-love, a deeper sense of nurturing and nourishing yourself, and giving yourself permission to just be, to say, I'm giving myself permission to do nothing in this moment. And stop going into that old pattern of abuse that's saying, you know, I'm not where I need to be. I should be further along. All the shoulding, all the naughty nothing. And just simply be present with your breath. Simply be present with what's happening right now. Yes, there's always going to be things to do. But a question that I love to ask myself often is, if I don't do this, will it kill me? Because there's a part of my old self that's running and antagonizing my nervous system to go into that sort of hyper vigilant do state, that thinks that doing nothing is going to be death of my body, death of the old story, death of something. And we need to give ourselves permission to stop and to also grieve the parts and pieces of us that we've lost along the way. And to also celebrate, right? Go into that active appreciation of saying, whatever is happening right now is exactly what I'm asking for. It's exactly what I'm calling in. And then we get to let go of that need to control the outcome, or to constantly hustle, or to think that, you know, there's going to be some reward for working 14-hour days. And the only person that can do this for you is you. So listen to Turtle this week. Do without doing. Allow yourself to slow down, to fill yourself up again, and just to trust that everything will get done, that there's nothing to do except be still now and be here now. And give yourself that grace to go into the gratitude and the appreciation that you've set your life up the way that you have, to allow yourself to just push pause on the world and fill yourself up, to take some deep rest before you get into that downward spiral of depression or anxiety because you're in the shoulding again. So listen to Turtle. It's a great anchor for this week, and I'm certainly going to move more into that and just allow myself to know that everything will be done, that there's nothing to do in this moment. And often, how often does it happen that when we allow ourselves to slow down, when we allow ourselves to go inside, when we allow ourselves to just be with ourselves, that's often when we get these beautiful bursts of inspiration and creation, or we get the answers to the problems that mind tripping and constant worry to actually distract you from the simplicity of just being with it now. And I say this all the time, you know, we have to be willing to feel the discomfort of doing nothing, especially if you were trained or you came from a background where perhaps your mother was always constantly doing, and know, okay, what am I distracting myself from in this moment? What am I trying to avoid by not being still enough to actually listen to my body? And I love that the next card that came up is Dunce. You know, to do something different, to shift your vibration. And sometimes if you're feeling too tired to even move your body, maybe the movement and the dance is an internal one where you allow yourself to dance in the moonlight, in your dream state, in your healing, restorative stage, because that's how we connect back into our hearts, and we are able to then follow the guidance of our soul's calling. So sometimes even in the being of doing nothing, there's going to be this dance between your doing mind and your heart just saying, be still. So perhaps it's just a metaphorical dance, but I think oftentimes we do sit too much. I certainly spend too much of my day sitting, and it's just in giving yourself permission. So going back to permission, to say, I give myself permission to just move my body right now, and to stretch and to bend, or to just sit out in nature and do a couple of dervish twirls, because life is constantly moving and shifting and changing. Our cells are recalibrating in that desire for us to be still, right? Where we just say, I just want peace of mind. Even in attaining a state of peace of mind, your cells are constantly shifting and communicating to each other to get you to a place where you are perhaps releasing more of those happy hormones rather than those stress hormones that's constantly giving you a state of actual internal inertia, where you feel like you're procrastinating, where you feel like doing nothing is going to kill you. So just remember to trust and let spirit move you. you know, to tap into your dreams, to actually set that intention before you go to bed at night, to ask for spirit to move you back into your heart space, to remember what you love to do. How did you love to move your body? And where are you not allowing yourself the time and the space to shift and just listen actively to your heartbeat? That's a dance in itself. So letting yourself synchronize back to the heart of your soul's desires is the way to connect to the heart of all life. And we need to do that right now in order to expand on our own spiritual path. We need to give ourselves space, and oftentimes it is in that movement where we are moving from a place of not knowing the outcome, of not being attached to what might show up if we change the tempo of our dance, right? Going back to turtle medicine, and we just trust that life is going to move us in whatever way, shape, or form without the need to know what that dance looks like. And that ends up in the direction of south of the beautiful card of transformation. So, you know, I think, again, the turtle and the way that the cards have presented themselves today and how we're going to lead our lives through this week is we need to look at, oftentimes we're impatient, right? It's going back to the medicine of turtle to say, have patience, give yourself permission to pause, to recalibrate, to recoup and fill yourself up on an energetic level, on a body level. Because oftentimes, even though we can't see the progress or where our body is moving us, right, in our body of work, in our relationships, in our money flows, it is transforming, right? It's just below the surface and you often can't see that before. And again, it goes back to that appreciation of the dance, of the tempo, right? Of what season you're in right now. And not necessarily knowing, because it doesn't feel like we're transforming, that there isn't movement. To go back into the gratitude of everything that I have done, everything that my body has moved me to and through in the challenges, has grown you into the person that you are right now, and you are doing the best that you can with what you have, just as everybody else is doing the best with what they have. And that connection, right, that we're traumatized through relationship, but we're also healed through relationship. And this is where we go back into the grace, right, in the still point of recognizing that we are all on this path of deep healing together. Things are changing on a cellular level right now. And you're not who you were a minute ago. You're not who you were a day ago, a month ago, a year ago. You are transforming. You are up-leveling. You are healing the parts and pieces of you and bringing back those fragmented core pieces into the heart of who you are becoming today. So it's time. You know, this card is a beautiful one. To remember that we are in a space of deep healing together, and we need to release, we need to empty our cup out and to release some of these old patterns of protection and defense off of our nervous system, so that we're not going out there, right, in hustle, in busyness, in burning ourselves out, in dimming our light. Because we're in that constant state of fight, flight, freeze. We're actually creating our own state of chronic, unpredictable, toxic stress. And we need to recognize that in itself, that addiction to cortisol, that addiction to, emergency, is something that we need time to reset in our brains, right? We need to look at some of these old childhood patterns of abuse that are rising up to the surface right now to be healed, because you have what you need, right? You have everything you need to do that. So be the witness, be the quiet observer, and also be this beautiful sort of mother figure, right? The divine mother. To tap into the nature of everything, to call on your ancestral helping spirits so that you can find new patterns, a new dance, a new way of rocking and self-soothing your child parts as they come back into you. So again, coming back into the anchor card for this week, this is not a time to put pressure on yourself, especially not in unrealistic expectations of what you think you need to do or how you need to perform or how you need to show up. This is a time to be in silent support and witness, right? To be the listener of your heartbeat and how you're changing your rhythm in how you're healing yourself. So transformation is on its way. It's happening on a very deep cellular level right now. So take time to trust and be patient with yourself. And I love that we're ending this week's reading in the direction of East, right? We're going through this rite of passage from South to the direction of the West, the direction of the West. And this is Anna, and she's someone that isn't very well known because she's kind of that silent support. She's the strength in the foundation to pave the way for Jesus, right? She was actually the grandmother of Jesus. And she's telling us again to trust in the divine plan, that your light matters, right? That your value, what you're contributing into the world, the way that only you can, because nobody's had your experiences. Nobody's come through the challenges the way that you've come through. And that we all have our own divine prescription for healing. And in doing our own internal work, we get to contribute back into the heart of this new soul consciousness that is very much based in the heart, right? This new frequency of wealth, of connection, of safety and belonging. We have to have that anchor in order to dream into the new earth. Our parts and pieces, right? That we're all part of this beautiful tapestry that has no one weaver, that no one is more important than the other, that we're all contributing our piece from this beautiful space of aligned love vibration with the divine source of all creation. So this is again a message to be faithful and to really partner with the divine mother, with Pachamama, and to know that in your true nature, when you start by doing your own inner healing work, when you start to become more self-loving and compassionate to yourself, that is how you begin to shine your light and transmute and transform the parts and pieces of the world that you're not liking, because they're still coming from that old lack and scarcity. So that's your 4-card reading for the week. I'm certainly going to be a walking, talking example of this medicine that has just been so beautifully gifted to us to keep us aligned with our true north. So trust in the divine timing, be patient with yourself, fill your cup up first so that you can go out into the world in divine timing, right? When it's time for you to move again, to give yourself permission to take stock, to rest, to find out what your heart and your soul desires so that you can change the rhythm of the dance that is being offered to you as a new opportunity to heal on this new level of vibrational frequency that only happens when you tap into the root cause of what created the trauma, what created all these sort of protective and defensive patterns and beliefs that you have to be something that you're not. It's only when we are in that vulnerable space of creating our own safety that we can speak our truth and show up in a way that is authentic and aligned with your heart. So have a great week, and I'd love to know what are some of the ways that you're going to move forward in this week that not only inspire you to tap into that highest version of yourself that is all heart, but to be in service to others to find their way and shine their light in this beautiful tapestry that we're creating in this new earth energy. All right, take care. Lots of love. Bye.